and welcome to YHELPtalk with Taylor. Today we are with Monique Owens of NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illness, discussing mental health support for teens. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
So tell us about yourself and your organization.
Oh, myself. Let's see. How can I tell you that in 5 minutes? I don't know. I am a mom of 6 adults, ages 19 to 38, and I have 8 grandchildren, 7 of them that live with me, and their ages are from age 3 to 18. So I have a house full of teenagers. I am a volunteer for NAMI, and I am an entrepreneur, so I have my own business, and I teach for the school system, and I teach for my church. And I like to have self-time. I have to have downtime because there's so much going on. And NAMI is one of the organizations that has taught me how to do that and to enjoy my self-care, which I love, teaching and praying and meditating. And sleep is the number one. I really enjoy sleep. That's a really good one. I like sleep. NAMI is the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and it's the nation's largest grassroots health organization that operates at the national, state, and local level. So NAMI Maryland is the state organization in Maryland which seeks to improve the quality of life of individuals with mental illnesses and their families.
Why should teens prioritize their mental health?
Teens should prioritize their mental health because the brain controls everything in our body. It controls our breathing, our speech, our movement, our heart rate, our body temperature, and even the way that we think and act. These can all be can affect our mental health conditions, which are a result of a complication of the way our brain is working. Our emotional, psychological, and social well-being defines mental health. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Poor mental health in teens struggling with depression, anxiety, and other mental illnesses have a harder time feeling motivated, learning, concentrating, and taking tests. These can lead to failing grades.
What are some common symptoms in teens experiencing mental health challenges?
Some of the symptoms that teens experience are they're having problems of sleeping, or they're having frequent outbursts of anger. They're rebelling against authority. It could be drinking a lot, or even just using drugs or things of that nature, not doing things that they used to enjoy. And they worry constantly. They experience frequent mood swings, not concerned with their appearance. So they don't take care of their hygiene or things like that. They lack the energy and motivation. They increase the risk in behavior, and they feel down. So when you have, most of these symptoms that I just named are just typical symptoms that people have, teenagers have. But what happens is when it is more intense, it persists longer than 2 weeks, whatever that issue is. And if it's inappropriate for the child's age, and if it interferes with your everyday life.
If teens experience anxiety, how can they manage it?
There are several ways that a teen can manage their anxiety. Most of the time, they have to identify what it is that is causing the anxiety. So there are signs that happen that give you the warning signs that something is happening. So pay attention to your body and find out if you have sweaty palms, if your heart is racing, if you're feeling like you can't breathe. Just take an inventory of what's going on with your body, and then you can do things to prevent or either calm you down, because you cannot avoid the things that are making you anxious, not all the time anyway. So what that's called is body mapping. So that means you pay attention. Is my heart racing? What can I do to cause my heart to slow down? If my hands are sweaty, what can I do to help my hands, to really calm myself down? So one of the techniques is breathing. So deep breathing, like if you breathe in and you hold it for 4 counts and you breathe out and you let that go for 6 counts. You do that often that you need it in order for you to calm yourself down. So breathing techniques are the best ones. There are other techniques that include removing yourself from the environment for a minute if you can. So let's just say you're taking a test and you're kind of scared and you're like, I need to go step out the room for a minute, then go do that. Change your thought, talk to yourself. You can talk yourself through it. You can say things like, okay, it's just a test. I'm doing good. I'll do fine. I studied for the test. Just do self-talk and do positive self-talk, not negative self-talk. Negative self-talk increases the anxiety, so we don't want to do that. And then you face the situation. So once you've calmed yourself down, you've done your breathing techniques, you understand that it's not a situation where you're going to die, hopefully. And that's where the body is, you're having the natural fight, flight, or freeze, which is the amygdala in the brain is what is your alarm system, and it's telling you whether you're in danger or not. And you can assess the situation and decide this is not a situation that I'm going to die. Then those are the techniques that you use that I previously mentioned that will calm you down. And therefore, then you can face what is causing the anxiety. And you should be able to get through it.
What are some forms of therapy that teens can use?
There are several forms of therapy. Most of the time, if you're feeling like you really need to handle or you're not feeling well, you're feeling something's a little off, you can talk with your parents and you can go to talk with a doctor. The doctor may refer you to a counselor or a therapist. And some of the therapies that they use, one of them is called talk therapy. Another one is called family therapy, play therapy, art therapy, which is a really good one. And they're also using animal use therapy and group therapy and behavioral therapy. So those are just a few. There's plenty of them, but those are some of the ones that a teen can take advantage of.
Is everyone's mental health journey different?
Everyone's mental health journey is definitely different. As I said before, for me, I have 6 children, and my oldest daughter had general anxiety, and then I had another child who had anxiety, but their symptoms were completely different. Their journeys were different. How we had to handle them were different. One, we had to do those breathing techniques, and I'm just using my family as an example because I had to go through it. There are times even for myself where my version of dealing with my mental health journey or anxiety is different than what we had to do with my daughters. So yes, everyone's is different. And so you cannot have a cookie cutter remedy for everyone. You have to tailor it to the person's needs.
What is crisis prevention and how can teens learn to use it?
Crisis prevention includes methods that are intended to help people with experiencing future crises. So they can include teaching strategies for crises that often focus on early identification of situations that stimulate crisis or indications of mental health destabilization. So in other words, if you have gone through a crisis before, you kind of know what's going on. Let's just say, for example, we're talking about anxiety. There are warning signs, as we talked earlier. And if you know that, if you have identified what it is that puts you in that crisis or in that anxiety mode, then there are things that you do that prevent it. That either you don't do it or you figure out how to de-escalate the situation. Things like self-care, taking care of the environment where you are, calming yourself down, calming the environment. So prevention means basically just try not to put yourself in a situation where crisis would occur.
If you don't feel comfortable talking to your parents about mental health, who can you talk to?
There are a few people that you can talk to. I do encourage you to talk to your parents if you can. That would be the first step, I would think. But if you cannot, there are other people like your coach or your school counselor, your doctor, an older sibling, another relative, or a grandparent like me that has been very helpful. And so being able to express that to my grandchildren, they now come to me and they'll say, Grandma, could I have a talk? I need to talk about something that happened in school that's kind of disturbing to me. So they're feeling comfortable with coming to me and we could talk about and help them through that and process through that situation for them. So try other people if you cannot talk with your parents.
Does NAMI have any resources for teens?
NAMI has a few resources for teens. And one of the signature programs that we have is called Ending the Silence. And that is a program that is presented to schools, middle school and high school. And so we have two presenters and a young person of around the age of the school, around high school age, that expresses how it is for their mental health journey and how it's been. And that appears to be very helpful. And we get great responses from young people who want to understand how to, communicate with their friends, how to identify when they may be having a crisis. A lot of times, NAMI also has infographics that are very, teenage friendly, that shows them how to talk to their friends if they're suicidal, or how to have the conversations if they're suicidal. And so NAMI.org is the number one place I would recommend to go to get a lot of information for that. And we also do programs, educational programs for parents. And that helps the parents to be able to talk with their children, to communicate with them. And so I really advocate for that. So a lot of times we have one way to get through to kids is we may have to get through to the parents. And so that's what we really focus on there. But NAMI has a few things. We also resource you out to local communities that may have other programs that you can use.
Well, that's all for this video. Thank you all for watching. And is there anything else you'd like to say to our audience before we leave?
I'd like to say, always pay attention to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Try to limit your social media content that you're looking at. And if there's something that you feel that you've watched, and be careful not to self-diagnose. So at least talk with a doctor and see if you have those things. But always be kind to yourself and love others. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.